Hello, welcome back to the channel. So the buffs for Kafka, Jingliu, Blade, and Silverwolf have been out for a while now, and I would say that they have landed fairly well and did help those characters a lot. And I think that it has kind of shown why Starl needs more buffs, since we still have not gotten an announcement for more. Since when I talk about buffs a lot of the time, I have always seen people say, like, you can make those characters work with enough investment, and yes, that is true. But that doesn't change the fact that a lot of characters have inherent problems in their kits that should just be fixed. Like, why do 3 characters have the exact same trace? Like, this is insane to me. Like, this is what I mean when I say 1.0, they just had no idea what they were doing. Like, on top of that, you need an insane amount of investment to even make these characters somewhat decent. Take Sealy, for example, who is like the main character when a lot of people talk about in regards to buffs. Can you make her work with enough support? Yes. But that doesn't change the fact that she just isn't that good. And has a lot of problems with her kit. Like her only really having one actually good trace, and Resurgence just feeling really slow and not that rewarding now, since it can only activate once. Like, if Archer can attack multiple times in one turn, Sealy should be able to as well. Maybe just make it so that the buff can't stack, since getting an 80% attack increase every time we kill an enemy would be kinda broken. Like, a lot of the 1.S characters' kits are just really outdated, which is why a lot of the 2.S characters have held up a lot better, since they actually have just well-designed kits. Are they, like, as insane as they used to be? No, but they're still good. The main reason buffing old characters is important is because it gives people a lot more options instead of just only the new character. Like, I don't think people would have nearly as much of a problem with the new characters being as strong as they are if the older characters felt better to play. Especially a lot of the 4 stars, because one big problem right now is that there's not really that many great budget options for a lot of teams. You have Remembrance MC and Gallagher, and that's kind of it for the majority of teams. And the budget options that are there are just nowhere near as good as the premium options. Like, I'm not saying that the budget options should be like as good as the best in slot options, because there's a reason that they're the best in slot. The problem is that the gap between them is way too big. As an example, Tingyun and Sunday. They both fill very similar roles of being like energy supports, but Sunday is just so much better at fulfilling that role that characters like Aglaya feel so bad to play without him on it. It's fine for characters to have synergies. I think it's a good thing for the game to have, since it encourages people to pull more characters in the future. The problem is when it feels more of like a requirement, where it's basically like you have to pull this character, or the team just feels almost non-functional. Now, I have seen some people say that they should nerf some of the newer characters, but honestly, I just think that that's a terrible idea, since, one, it's taking away some of the fun from the game, since playing strong characters is just fun, and at the end of the day, this is a single-player game. It's not like there's a leaderboard or anything. 2, I just don't think Hoyo would even be allowed to do that, since those characters are already released, and, like, I'm pretty sure you would have to give them an option to toggle the nerfs on and off, like the buffs, which would kind of just defeat the whole point. And, like, 3, it's fine for new characters to be strong. I feel like people think the new characters being strong is bad, which it's not. If the new characters weren't strong, no one would pull for them. Like, which is why I would much rather them do buffs, since it's just adding more fun to the game. And also, because the majority of the people who play this game are, casuals, and I don't mean that in a bad way, I would say that I'm also a casual as well. Like, to the average player, having your old characters just suck now is really not a great feeling. And I'm sure a lot of people have just stopped playing the game because their old characters just aren't good anymore. Buffing them so they actually feel a lot better to play, I think would bring a lot of people back. Obviously, there are other problems, like, MOC being really outdated, and there just needing to be more events, but that would at least help. Obviously, there will always be characters that are better than others, like supports will probably always be insane, and that kind of thing. That's just the inevitability of, games like this, trying to make the new characters more and more exciting. But every character should at least be decent, and not take an insane amount of investment just to make it work. Like, maybe if there's, like, 1 or 2 characters like that, then maybe it's fine. But the problem is that, like, there's so many characters like that. If the devs aren't going to make more 4 stars, which it seems like they aren't, since we haven't gotten one in almost a year, I believe, like, since 2.5, we need to get more buffs consistently. Like, the current rate is just not enough. Taking 2 or 3 months to buff 4 characters is way too slow. Especially since by the time they came out, like 5 new broken characters had already come out. So by the time the buffs actually came out, barely anyone was actually hyped for it because they cared way more about, the new character. Like, I do think them announcing the buffs beforehand, it kind of hurt it a bit as well, since people already knew that it was coming, so they had to wait for it. But them having to wait for it, I think, kind of drained a lot of the actual hype from it. Because when the buffs were actually announced, I did see a lot of people actually excited for it. But then by the time that they were announced, people were like, oh yeah, they are doing that. And then that was kind of it, But I do think that now that people know that the devs are willing to do buffs, the next time they do it, they should just release it like the same patch they announce it, since I think that would make it a lot more exciting. But besides just the hype around it, I do think we just need more of them in general, and hopefully they do it for more than just like limited 5-star characters, because there are a lot of characters that could really use buffs, especially those from 1.0, like, a lot of the standard characters, or a lot of the 4 stars, because only doing 4 characters every 3 months is just way too slow, especially since now they have an actual structure for it, so it should hopefully actually, go faster. And, you could say maybe they're doing it in case of bugs and stuff, but there can't be that many bugs that it takes 3 months to change, like, 4 characters' kits. Come on, man. And the reason I am kind of pressing them to actually do more buffs is because we have seen the good that the buffs can do. Like, all the characters that got buffed in 3.4 are way better than they were before. Blade is a lot better since he actually benefits fully from health. Kafka just feels a lot better to play now since their skill actually triggers all of the hits on the dot instead of just the main target, which, I'll be honest, I kind of thought that's how it worked before. But apparently not, which is kind of stupid, but I mean, High Ceilings coming out did also definitely help her a lot as well. Because, dude, High Ceilings is insane. Like, Silver Wolf also is now a really good support for a lot of teams. Not even just Acheron teams, but just in general, because defense shred is just good on almost every single team. The one who I think did definitely get it the worst is probably Jingli, because I don't think it really helped her that much, but I do think she is better than she was before. I just think that she could probably use more, like, support for her. Like, at the end of the day, I do think that some of the talk about how bad some characters are is a bit exaggerated. Like, Firefly, I think, is nowhere near as bad as some people make her out to be. She just isn't, like, as insanely broken as she used to be, because the content isn't as favorite towards her anymore. But I think there's a difference between being just good now and being just straight up bad. Because while you can make someone like Yanqing work, it is just not worth the insane amount of investment needed, and their base kit should just be good. Like, but I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.